And some other folks joining. Welcome, welcome. Just pouring myself a cup of coffee. We're gonna let you ask anything you want as we're going through. So, I'm not sure if you were here yesterday. I can show you around. This is the upper level of the Missile Command Center back in the day. It used to be where the crew would sleep. The crew quarters were here. The entire thing was suspended. Here's one of the massive springs. It was super annoying, from what we're told, because it was run by pneumatics. So as people would walk across the deck, it'd be like shh, 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 and like rearranging everything. We should be fine for Wi-Fi as I go up and down the stairs. So these walls are super thick, and most people think missile silos are concrete. They're not. They're actually massive rebar. They're like 3-inch rebar. So the entire structure you see is actually massive rebar, and it's just held together by epoxy cement. I'll show you guys a picture here. It's epoxy cement. Here's a picture of it under construction. No. Sorry, I need both hands for a second, guys. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, there. So here is a picture of what it looks like behind the walls. You can see this dude's standing on it. That's like 4 to 5 inch rebar. So it's massive rebar. Here in a second, I'll take you down. There's the largest springs ever in the world at the time were in this structure. I think it was 1958. But it's all AB cement. So the interference is crazy. So if you have Wi-Fi, you can just exit on the other side of the wall. And because of all the steel, all that steel makes it to where it's very difficult to do that. Okay, I'm going to try to turn this sideways. Oh. Let's see if I can do orientation. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, that's not going to work. Well, I'll take you guys around. As we were going down the stairs, we've got the blast doors here. I'll take you out and plug in the lights while we're here. Okay, so this blast door is a 1-ton manganese steel. Hey, Herb. All right, so this thing is crazy. I'll try to get on the other side, but if I start shutting the door, the Wi-Fi's gonna drop out even though we have like absolutely full strength. There's actually a router sitting right there. But this thing is the 1-ton manganese door. It's concaved this way. So when the door's shut, there's also a door right there. It's also concave that way. So then there's this hallway and it zigzags. I cannot go around the corner because I will drop out a Wi-Fi connection because we're underground right now. So we're like 40 feet underground. So every time there's a 90-degree bend, there's 3 90-degree bends and then a staircase. What was assumed is that if this place got hit with a nuke, the door at the top of the stairs, which looks like the one from Stranger Things, gets blown away. That nuclear force that will rocket down the hallway, every time it hits a 90-degree bend, it will half the force it has. It then hits another 90, halves it again, hits this 90, halves it again, and hits this 1-ton manganese door, which again, the back of that one, these massive strings, the back of that door looks like this, and it's concave, right? So this would be closed, this would be closed, and that protects the crew from the blast. When coming in, they would actually, there was a camera system and everything right there. They'd open that door, come in this room, close that door. Then they would have to give a password. And if it was the incorrect password, Then guys with M16s would show up from the surface to haul people away, which is pretty wild. All right, so once you're in, this is mostly, we left a lot of the stuff original, but you can go check this out. If you guys want to ask any questions along the way too, feel free to. We are coming on to the cake pile. So again, the crew quarters was up here. We stripped it all out. It was very cramped, and it's pretty much ready to go as an Airbnb. We got Marty and Chaz hanging out by the kitchen, the maintenance room. We got sweet waterfall shower. Got a place to go to the bathroom, of course. And again, there's that. This whole thing used to be suspended, and it was designed to withstand a shock wave for 1,000 mile an hour shock wave for a direct hit. So we're going down 2 more stories upstairs into, I'll have to go in here first to show you. So this is where the actual the launch center was. And I'm going to, let me go around to turn the lights on. I'll go back to the door for you. All right, so you can see the wire cage where everything was suspended. Okay. So coming down the stairs, the crew quarters was upstairs. You come downstairs, and this was where the original missile launch center was. We added 2 bathrooms and 2 showers down here for the Airbnb ability. And sweet parties. We actually had a business meeting down here. That wire cage you can see was suspended. This whole thing is no longer suspended. When they decommissioned it, they actually pulled a lot of the stuff and sold it off. That's not as nice down here, just more standard stuff, but still fridge, kitchenette, and also just like kind of a cool hangout area. So this place is huge. It's like 15-foot ceilings. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll keep showing you guys around, but feel free to ask away. I know this is an AMA, so you guys ask what you want about it. Oh, I'll show you this. This is where the actual codes lived for the missile codes. So you can see on this side, it says entry restricted to MCC and DMCC on duty. And so there's like a lockbox here where the codes are at. And then inside of that lockbox was another lockbox. We actually covered the floor up with LVP. But there was a steel floor below here with all kinds of holes and stuff. The original equipment to launch the missile would have been about where I'm standing right now. There was like crazy server racks and stuff like that just from the 50s. I'm going to show you guys where we're going to go next as to where actually the missile silo, the missile tube is. It's down this hallway. All of the equipment ran under this over through this tunnel that I'm about to take you guys through. But one of the unique things about Atlas Class F missile silos specifically is that we are one of the only silos that have, one of the only missile bases left that civilians can buy that have an actual launch tube where the missile was. Everything else was decommissioned and imploded, and I'll get more into the history of that here in a second. So I'll turn this around, bring you guys downstairs. And it's going to get a little messy. We're still in the middle of renovations here. And so now, you guys can see, there used to be racks and trays. You can see where they were bolted to the walls there, of all the cables and infrastructure. It came in, popped through here, was bolted along the racking here. And you'll see some of that. Both sides. You can see some of the remnants of where all those cables went through. And then here, there's another 2 1-ton manganese doors, which are just huge. So you go through Here's the back of this door here. This was sealing off the missile command center away from here. Here's where all the pipes are coming through. This is hardened steel. We repurposed this to run an HVAC line through it. Okay. And so here's the actual tube that contained the silo itself, that contained the missile. So right now we are 4 stories underground. You can, I'm gonna see if I can get that light out of the way. Sorry. And right, you can see we are underground, and we are standing on a ledge on 6 stories to the top of a structure that then descends down into the blackness. So this thing is crazy. This is, sorry about that. The Wi-Fi cut out for a second. I can't show you guys. I can't stick you too far into this area because there's so much interference. So this part, I'll back it up to show you. Everywhere else in the silo is like 3-foot walls of reinforced epoxy bulletproof concrete. The missile tube is like 9 feet thick. This thing is massive. Goes all the way out here. Remember, it's not really concrete. It's really made of rebar held together by concrete. So when I go out there, the interference is super high, where even though I got really strong Wi-Fi, it just doesn't like to connect. So if you look down, you can see where the missile actually was. You can see all of the little all of the stairs that the maintenance guys used to check. And you can see it is crazy deep. It's 185 feet deep. You see this blue cable here, and I don't know if you can see it going through the ceiling. This was 2 owners ago. You can see this was all flooded. The water actually went to there, which is actually above where we're standing. All of this was flooded and underwater. 2 owners ago swam out into the blackness and was able to get this hooked up to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, you see that little gray pipe up there? I'll zoom in and I'll block it for you. There's a little gray pipe up there. They drilled through to take a water sample and they left that tube there. He was able to toss a rope up to it somehow, get all that connected. Not exactly sure how he did that, which is wild. Then he put a 3-horse pump and he ran that pump for 8 months straight and pumped this pumped this silo completely dry. It was millions and millions and millions of gallons. It was insane. These springs that are on the wall, this elevating platform and structure actually held the missile itself. So if you look over there, these are, this is like 50, 60 feet away. These are the largest springs that ever existed at the time were here. And again, this was designed to be retaliatory. So if the Russians would send a missile, they would nuke us after the blast, and then we could actually get this onto the surface and then launch it. The reason why these are some of the few missile bases that civilians can buy that still have this tube, where all of the new ones, they left the rest of the underground infrastructure, but they got rid of the tube, is because this elevating system is so old that they could not retrofit it to fit a modern missile, because there's no way for the exhaust gases to go out. Versus all the modern stuff, they actually launch from, with the advent of solid state fuel, they'll actually launch from the tube. This is the very first ICBM intercontinental ballistic missile. This is the very first generation of that, and that generation, the first generation did not have solid fuel, so they actually had to raise it out of the ground and fuel it on the surface and then launch it. And that took 15 minutes to launch. So they're like, hey, send the missile. They had to open the doors, they had to raise it on the surface, they had to fuel it on the surface, and then they hit launch, right? It took 15 minutes. The Soviets came out with a missile that launched in 13 minutes, and it made these obsolete. And so when they made these obsolete, they decommissioned all of them. And so these were like $19 million in today's, or no, sorry, $19 billion in today's money. Each missile base cost that much to make, and they were used for like 4 years, and then decommissioned all of them. They simultaneously made 72 of them across the world, or across the U.S. And so there was like Abilene, Texas, Abilene and around the Shillings Air Force Base here. They also made it with I think Nebraska had a cluster. Basically, you'd have an Air Force Base, and then around the Air Force Base were 12 nuclear missile bases. And then they were spaced so far apart that at the technology at the time, they would have had to use multiple nukes to take out one ring. So the MAD principle, mutually assured destruction, was they'd have to expend so many nukes being able to take out all of our retaliatory nukes that it was just impossible. We would be able to strike back and hit, whatever. And then so we do not know what was here. We don't know what the missiles in this base were targeting. And who knows, because this base here, whatever it used to be targeting, could still be the case. So when they decommissioned this site, I think they went to the Minutemen first. So the Minutemen replaced the Atlas missiles, and then after the Atlas missiles, they ended up going to the Titans. And then the Titans, I think the Titan 3s are still what we use today. Could be wrong about that. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. But it's pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, you guys have been a pretty quiet group. Anyone have any questions? I'm just going to go back and show you guys around. I can't take you to the surface. I can take you to the surface, but I will lose Wi-Fi in between. I'm going to pop over here, and we're going back up. You see this? We're pretty proud of this area. We end up hosting a conference of business owners. We had the Silo Summit here, and we had a bunch of AI nerds, bleeding edge AI guys down here. We locked ourselves in the basement, or locked ourselves down here for 3 days, hung out, did a bunch of presentations, had folks Zoom in, and we learned a whole bunch. So immediately from there, I think we were able to go take action and do like $20,000 or $30,000 of business changes that saves us that per year, just from the 2 or 3 days that we spent together down around a group of great guys down there. So we are not fully finished renovating, but we are probably 90% there, and we still have some folding chairs and whatnot, but we're gonna get dialed in so we can list this thing online for it to be Airbnb-able and rentable for space. We're about 2 hours from Kansas City, about an hour from Wichita, which is nice, and about 6 hours from Denver. So if you're a lot of people that are like driving from Denver across I-70 to somewhere on the East Coast, this is a great halfway point. It's almost dead center between Denver and St. Louis, so it's a good stopping point for the night. Anyways, I'll take you guys back upstairs. It's pretty wild. Just all of the differences that, just to think about what was going on at the time. So, cool. All right, well, thanks for joining me this morning, guys. And there's no other questions. We'll see you guys later.